What up, everybody? What up, everybody? What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the greatest afternoon show, AC Reviews the World. And I'm your host, AC the Engineer. And we're at episode, I believe we're at episode 103. 103. But I hope everybody had a good day. It is Wednesday, January 7th, 2026. And like always, we got a lot of things to talk about, a lot of things to review together. It's a crazy world, and that's all we can do is just review it and find the right path to move through the world. But you know how I like to say it. Hey, remember, y'all, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, hit that notification bell so you can be up to date on all the videos. But you know how I like to do it. Let's jump right into it.
Sensational.
Yes, let's jump right into it. The first thing we're going to be talking about today, I don't know if y'all seen it, but it recently happened. We got a ICE shooting in Minneapolis. We got an ICE shooting where I believe a woman has died. So we're going to get over into that. We got two videos to look at. And let's see what all this is about. Some people are upset. Some people are saying that it was warranted. So let's get into it and see how we feel about it. That's the main thing, is that we look at any of this stuff and just tell how we feel about it ourselves. Can't just go off of what we see on the media. We need to just look into the information ourselves. But let's get into it. Let's get right into it.
Right, a woman shot and killed by an ICE agent today. Those tensions running very high in the area of this incident. 11 Alive's Ron Jones joining us now in studio. Ron, a lot of people following this closely, including yourself. Can you walk us through what exactly we know at this hour?
Well, ladies, we know a lot of tension right there in Minneapolis. So within the last couple of hours, the Department of Homeland Security released a statement saying the woman was among a group of violent protesters who weaponized a vehicle and tried to run over an ICE officer. The agency went on to say that the officer feared for his life and for the life and the safety of the public. The woman in question was 37 years old, but her identity has not been released just yet. Now, this all unfolded today after DHS sent more than 2,000 ICE agents into the Twin Cities in what it's calling the largest DHS operation ever. One woman at the scene says that she heard the gunshots followed by a loud crash, and that's when she saw the woman's body lying on the street beside her vehicle.
And as I'm driving by, it was a red truck and nothing but the airbags and full of blood, and there was a body on the streets. It was a woman. They shot a mother this morning trying to flee from ICE agents.
All right, so at this point, the agency did not say whether the woman was an actual target for arrest by the agents. Now, Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem described the incident as an act of domestic terrorism carried out against ICE officers.
Now, let me say something before we get into more details about it. I see it very simply. If she's running away, not about to hit anybody, she's just running away, yes, you cannot just shoot her. That's understandable. I think we all can understand that. But if she's driving and looks like she's about to hit an officer or hit anybody, I can understand why she was shot. But we don't know any of the information yet, so let's just keep going and listening to more details about it.
To show the assaults that our ICE officers and our law enforcement are under every single day. These vehicle rammings are domestic acts of terrorism. We're working with the Department of Justice to prosecute them as such.
Well, there's a lot of video circulating on social media right now claiming to show the shooting in real time. This is what's circulating on social media. Now, Minneapolis Mayor Jacob Frey says, quote, that he was referring to DHS, that they are already trying to spin this as an action of self-defense. And he says that he's seen the video and calls the officers' actions reckless. As you know, ladies, this is a developing story. Of course, we're going to provide you more updates as needed.
That's right.
Now, it's not surprising that whoever, if it was right or wrong, they're going to try to use it to say it's self-defense. So let's get over into this next video where it actually shows a little of the video. So let's get into it.
Context here, why don't we just let you watch this, but we're going to do this in a very sort of deliberate way. Let people know that this is video we're showing for the first time. You're not going to see it a lot on our air because we want to make sure that when we're showing it, we're doing it with a purpose. So there's no audio here as well, and you're going to see this sort of play out. So just a warning to those who may not want to see this. You can see the vehicle That's law enforcement pulling up in the pickup.
And it is the Honda Pilot that we should be focused on here. It's about a purplish, reddish color here. So let's take a look.
Agent walking up. And then there's another agent. I don't know if you can see that one right there.
Yeah, three agents involved. One was kind of closer to the front of the vehicle. The other kind of pulled on that driver's side door handle.
All right, let's back that up a tad bit just so we can see it one more time.
Pickup.
And it is the Honda Pilot that we should be focused on here. It's about a purplish, reddish color here. So let's take a look.
Agent
So as you see, you got one who's pulling on the door.
Walking up.
One right in front before she pulls off.
And then there's another agent. I don't know if you can see that one right there.
Yeah, three agents involved. One was kind of closer to the front of the vehicle. The other kind of pulled on that driver's side door handle.
Yeah.
There as
so
well.
again, there's no audio here. We don't.
Now, from this point of view, because we don't know what the other cop's body camera is going to say, it does look like he could have moved out the way. It does look like he could have moved out the way. But that goes to question, if he can move out the way, should he, or should he jump out the way? Or if he feel like he just didn't need to, or did he truly feel like his life was in danger? But let's keep going.
Know what's being said. We don't know really anything else about this woman, other than we know that she was not the target of the initial investigation. That was confirmed by the police chief. But there are some other angles of this as well that are being looked at. So that's kind of one pass of the video. And again, right. Okay, thanks for letting us know. Sorry. So there is some audio to this, and if you go online, you can see. So now you can see the vehicle is crashed.
Yep.
And according to law enforcement here in the Twin Cities, that woman was shot, and then the vehicle drove into the snow there, as you can see. So this is kind of the aftermath right now. This video is turned the other way. We want to just show you what's happening. We didn't have a lot on the front end of this, and every time we show video, we kind of like to show prior the incident and then as much after. But this is what we have, so we wanted to show it to you in full.
And this is also the first time that we are seeing this as well. So we're kind of just watching this together along with you. But as you can see there, you see all these houses and these homes along Portland Avenue. We know that this is a residential area. So again, we don't know much about this woman, just that she's 37 years old. We don't know if she was an observer, because that's the thing too. So a lot of these ICE agents were out there, and they say observers were out there as well. These are people that are just documenting what is going on. And so we know from the police chief's perspective, he just says that he knows that she was a woman that was in her car and she was blocking the road.
Yeah.
And that's about all the information that we know.
Okay, Ryan, you let me know when this is played out completely, or how close we are. Oh, there's a couple minutes left, because I just wanted to also read, because we haven't had a chance to do this, the statement from Kristi Noem, the Department of Homeland Security, if I could as well. Do you want me to do that right now, Ryan, or do you want me to wait just a minute? Okay. Okay, so let's just watch this for a moment. Again, this is the aftermath.
I think we got the gist of everything that's happened. Let's look through it one more time just so we can see what we truly thought.
You can see the vehicle there. That's law enforcement pulling up in the pickup.
And it is the Honda Pilot that we should be focused on here. It's about a purplish, reddish color here. So let's take a look.
Agent walking up.
So as you see, you got the cop right there in front.
And then there's another agent. I don't know if you can see that one right there.
Yeah, three agents involved.
All right, y'all, tell me what y'all think. We're not going to watch the whole thing, because that's the main part that we want to know. What do you think? Do you think the officer was in his right to shoot the woman who was driving off? Was she trying to hit him? Was she just trying to flee? What are your thoughts on this whole situation? Let's go over into, you know how I like to do a little AI breakdown summary. So let's just see. So 37-year-old woman's name was Rena Nicole Good, and she was fatally shot by the U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement in South Minneapolis. The incident has triggered national attention and a sharp conflict between federal and local officers. So it happened at 9:30 a.m. near the intersection of East 34th Street and Portland Avenue, roughly 10 blocks from where George Floyd was killed in 2020. Wow. Victim identification. So Rena Nicole Good was a U.S. citizen and a resident of the neighborhood. City leaders stated that she was a legal observer of the federal actions and was not a target for the arrest. So that's why they say she wasn't a target of the arrest. She was a legal citizen. Witnesses in social media videos show agents approaching a burgundy Honda Pilot after agents tried to open the side door of the vehicle, reversed and then moved forward, and agent fired approximately 3 shots through the windshield or the driver's side window, striking Good in the head. So conflicting narratives. This is what we're going to get into. So the federal account. So the Department of Homeland Security saying that it was an act of domestic terrorism. They claim Good weaponized her vehicle and attempted to run over officers while she was conducting a targeted immigration operation. Now, tell me what y'all thought. Now, we can only see one side of it until we get the body cam footage of the officer. Do you think she was really trying to run away, or I don't know if escape is the good word, because she wasn't under arrest. So I'm trying to figure out why she was driving off. Local accounts, so the Minneapolis mayor and Tim Walz have explicitly called the federal narrative bullshit and propaganda. They cited the video footage they say shows the agent used reckless power and the vehicle was not being weaponized against them. Immediate aftermath. So you got some protests and unrest. A large crowd gathered at the scene, leading to clashes where the federal agents used pepper spray and tear gas. And then the governor has placed Minnesota National Guard on a warning order. Demands for ICE to leave. So you got the mayor and senator who are demanding ICE to leave the city immediately. And then so right now there is an investigation by the FBI and the Minneapolis Bureau of Criminal Apprehension. Now it's a crazy scene. I always do that backwards. It's a crazy scene. But let's think about what we saw. We saw that we had officers surround the vehicle. One tried to open it. One was standing in front of the vehicle. She tried to drive away. One officer was standing to the front, so you can technically call it in the front, but close enough to where I think he could have jumped out the way. But she technically did drive towards him. But is that enough for him to shoot or fear for his life? At the end of the day, it's how he felt. So if he can say that he feared for his life, okay. But what are your thoughts, y'all? Do you think that the ICE agent was in his right? Or do you think that it wasn't a dangerous enough situation for him to fire his weapon? It's a crazy situation no matter how you look at it, and it's a tragic situation that a woman lost her life. So we got to remember that. It's a tragic situation that a woman lost her life. Loss of life is always tragic. But the question is, was she trying to hurt the officer, or was she just trying to leave? Do you think the officer was in his right to shoot? Like I said, if he truly feared for his life, felt like he couldn't get out the way in time, and he pulled the trigger, I can't say much about that. But tell me your thoughts, y'all. Tell me if you disagree with anything I said. Absolutely crazy situation. We're going to pivot over into the next topic that we're going to be talking about today, and we got to go over to a 5-year-old case. So this is a 5-year-old case where a father murders, yes, I said it, murders 5 infants. So this case, he was arrested 5 years ago, and he was just convicted by a jury. So yesterday. So let's get over into this to these videos. We're going to go back to the 5-year-old case 5 years ago when the video dropped, and then today when they talked about the jury's conviction. So let's get over into it and see what our thoughts are on this whole situation. In general, the first thing I'm coming to my mind, what drives or what can possess a father to kill 5 of his infants? So let's get over into that and see what we can make of this situation.
The cold case started here in this slough, located near Interstate 5, just east of Woodland. That's where the body of Nico Lee Perez was discovered by a fisherman in 2007. And today, his father, 57-year-old Paul Allen Perez, was charged with murder.
The science and power of DNA has shown that monsters and killers cannot hide forever any longer.
Nico Perez's body was wrapped inside this Winnie the Pooh blanket and placed inside a metal cooler. The autopsy report shows the infant suffered multiple fractures, including his skull, ribs, and left leg. But Nico Perez was not the only victim.
Nico was not an only child. We also tragically learned that 4 of his siblings suffered his same fate.
The 5 children were all born between 1992 and 2001 and died before they were 6 months old. It was DNA that helped lead investigators to the accused killer.
We were able to create a list of potential siblings or parents of the victim.
Put him under the jail. If he truly did it, put him under the jail. This is the sign of a demon.
That approach helped us to identify the probable father of the infant in this case.
And that father, Paul Perez, has a long criminal rap sheet for assault, car theft, and manufacturing a deadly weapon while in prison. Investigators are calling him a serial killer who nearly got away with what is now 5 counts of murder.
His arrest was made just days before he was due to be released.
And as for the father in this case, he is set to be arraigned in Yolo County tomorrow at 1:30. In Woodland, Mike Lurie, KCRA 3.
So he was already in jail, about to be released when he was found for this? Or they discovered he was the killer? Absolute crazy situation. Let's go over to the next video where we see the jury convicted him. Let's hear what he was convicted of.
Now to a cold case solved, and a California father now convicted of murdering multiple of his own children, just babies, when they died.
We do want to warn you, some of the details in this case are disturbing. With what led to the break in the case, your reporter covering Yolo County, Ashley Sharp, joins us in studio with more. Ashley.
Well, today in Yolo County Court, more than 20 years after his crimes, Paul Perez was found guilty of murdering his own babies. The mother of the 5 children, Yolanda Perez, testified against her former husband, taking a plea on lesser charges, saying each of the deceased babies were repeatedly abused by Perez before they died. Now, 3 of the children's remains have never been found, but today, thanks to DNA, there's justice.
My question is, did the mother, was she too scared to come to police? Because this happened years ago. And she's finally talking about it? Or was she when the case was happening?
It's a shocking crime. A father convicted in the killing spree of his own infant children. 5 Perez babies are believed to have been younger than 6 months old when they died, from 1992 to 2001. This is Paul Allen Perez entering Yolo County Court in 2025. He was first arrested for the murders in 2020. The arrest came 13 years after a gruesome discovery in a woodland waterway all the way back in 2007, when the body of his child, Nico Lee Perez, was found weighed down in a sealed container in the Conway Slough. As investigators uncovered in 2020, Perez had 4 other deceased children and accused him of murdering all 5.
And I think that if he did do it, he needs to burn. This is a sickening story. And to think that a relative of mine would be accused of such a thing, I don't think any of us would want to be standing here.
Jurors Tuesday found Perez guilty of 1 count of first-degree murder, 2 counts of second-degree murder, and 1 count of assault on a child resulting in death. Yolo County District Attorney Jeff Reisig said today in a statement on Perez's conviction, these crimes involved pure evil. The defendant should die in prison. May the souls of his murdered children rest in peace.
That is what I like to hear. That is what I like to hear. Let's get.
So how did investigators crack the cold case?
Most parents in California don't realize that the state actually stores a sample of DNA from every baby born here.
It all comes down to DNA. CBS Investigates California reporter Julie Watts has for more than a decade been reporting on California's storage of blood samples of every child born in the state. Parents don't consent to it before it happens, so it is controversial. But in this case, the blood samples from these babies stored at a biobank in Richmond played a key role in making sure Perez did not get away with murder.
Such a terrible story. The DA described Perez as a transient when he committed those crimes and said the killings happened throughout Central and Northern California. He now faces life in prison without the possibility of parole, and he's set to be sentenced in Yolo County Court exactly 3 months from today.
Now to some breaking news. The FBI.
Absolutely crazy situation. We'll get into that next video later. But tell me your thoughts on that whole situation, y'all. Oh, let's go over into, you know, I like to do the AI overview just to see if we missed anything. So let's get over into that real quickly. So as we know, on January 6, 2026, 63-year-old Paul was convicted of murder of his 5 infant children. The killings occurred from 1992 to 2001. So all 5 children, Cato, Mika, Nico Lee, he named 2 children the same thing back to back, and Cato were under 6 months when they at the time of their deaths. So the case began as a cold case in 2007 when a fisherman found the remains of Nico Lee inside a weighted down blanket. So they used familiar DNA. He was found guilty on multiple counts of murder and 1 count of assault on a child, resulting in a death. He was arrested in 2020. Sentence is supposed to be April 6, 2026. At the end of the day, he doesn't need to get out. I don't see any person I don't see any judge in their right mind letting the sentence go for anything less than life in prison. Anything less than life in prison, then something's wrong with the system. Now, he was caught, like they mentioned, was because of the stored DNA. How do y'all feel about that? Do you agree with the stored DNA? It's because it's not consent of the parents, but I am happy that he was able to be convicted, and the killer of these children is gonna stay hopefully in jail for the rest of his life. They might even give him the death penalty. I don't know how. Oh, this is California, ain't it? California ain't got a death penalty. Let's see real quickly. Let's see. Okay. I think they still do it. Let me see. Capital punishment, California, in August. I'm trying to read the whole thing. They might have it. So we'll have to wait and see about what that whole thing. It's a crazy situation, y'all. Let me know your thoughts on it, and let me know if you disagree with anything I said. Absolutely crazy. Absolutely crazy. But let's pivot over into the next topic for today. Y'all, I know y'all remember the Brown University shooter. So it looks like he has recorded some tapes, and the FBI has announced they found the tapes in the storage locker where he ended his own life. So let's get over into that topic and see what we're going to talk about, or what we're going to learn about today. So let's get over into it and see what our thoughts are.
Now to some breaking news. The FBI has discovered videos at the storage facility where the Boston University shooter took his own life. Police say Claudio Manuel Neves is the man responsible for killing 2 people at Brown and an MIT professor. The FBI published a transcript of the videos Neves left behind, which were translated from Portuguese to English. In one, Neves said, quote, "So what has been done now? I'm in a storage space in Salem," referencing the place where he took his own life. CBS News senior crime and public safety producer Anna Schechter joining us live now. So Anna, what are we learning from these transcripts?
Juliet, this is really extraordinary to see because we know now that he had been planning this for weeks and months. It matches up his description, essentially saying that he had many opportunities over the last semester. I think we even have a quote talking about where he talks about how he chickened out after having opportunities. There you see it on your screen. I had plenty of opportunities, especially this semester. I had plenty of opportunities, but I always chickened out, and I already explained why I did it this time. Now, interestingly, the Department of Justice says that he actually didn't explain exactly why. They say they are still searching for a motive. There you see, he also talks about how there was reporting about something that he yelled right when he opened fire. And he's saying that I must have made an exclamation like, oh no, or something like that to express that it was empty. That is, quote, if I said something like that, I thought that the people had left, end quote. So he's really, in a cold, calculating way, describing this horrific attack. And I guess it's not surprising that somebody demonstrating some kind of sociopathic language carried out these attacks, but it is chilling, certainly, to read this transcript. It's interesting that the Department of Justice chose to release this. They probably want to show that they have been making progress. They were able to get access to his devices. In one of the videos, he says that it was recorded on an SD card, so they were able to upload those, review them, get them translated, and they wanted to enter it into the record. I think they want to demonstrate that even though the perpetrator is deceased, they continue to try to seek information and therefore justice in some way for the families of the two students who were killed and the other students who were injured. And of course, the MIT professor, the brilliant professor who was the father of young children, married, that he was assassinated at close range. That's another thing, Juliet, that's interesting when you read this transcript carefully. He talks about being injured in the eye after he shot the professor at close range. And he's so concerned about his own injury, and he shows absolutely no remorse or concern about the lives lost and the injured people injured by his gunshot. It's just a true.
Yeah, he sounds like a clear sociopath. Sounds like a clear definition of a sociopath. He doesn't care about, he can't empathize with other people. Absolutely crazy. Let's keep going.
Really chilling, just chilling evidence of that kind of narcissism and self-absorption. And having covered a lot of cases, it is not uncommon for the perpetrator of these cold-blooded murders to be so consumed thinking about themselves and not showing remorse for victims. But that really did stand out to me in reviewing these transcripts.
Yeah, it certainly does. No concept over what they're doing, just about their own physical being. So we know law enforcement are still investigating this case. What more are they looking for at this stage?
Well, they say they really want to find a motive. Here's what they've told us, and what we learned from our own reporting is that the MIT professor and this shooter had studied together in the late 1990s. So more than 25 years ago, they were in the same exact academic physics track at a university in Portugal. So they definitely knew of each other. But fast forward, we don't have a timeline of the two of them interacting. We don't have his internet searches. Was he obsessed with this professor? Was he searching him, reading articles as the professor was gaining more and more respect and fame, really, for leading this prestigious laboratory of 250 scientists at MIT and doing really important, groundbreaking work? Meanwhile, he himself was not succeeding in that field of physics. So
do you think it was like so do they think it was like a jealousy thing where it was like a I should have what you have, something like that?
Want to know more about that, and we haven't gotten much information about what happened between them in the intervening years, just in terms of, did he become obsessive about this individual? Then let's look at Brown University. They, in their statement this evening, they noted that they still don't know exactly why the students were targeted. They know that Brown University was targeted, but if you read the transcript carefully, he says he wasn't even wanting to open fire in that particular auditorium. So it really was kind of random. But what he says is that he clearly had cased this campus multiple times in the last year. And we know from our own reporting that he had rented a vehicle in the Boston area several times in the last year. So what this transcript does for me is kind of put the puzzle pieces together of how much time he spent lurking on campus before carrying out the attack. And that raises serious security concerns to me when it comes to campus security.
Yeah, absolutely. Disturbing.
Not before we get over that, I don't think it raises any concerns for campus security to me, just because I lived in of course I went to college, of course, but just thinking about the school in general, I could have, anybody can drive through the campus. Anybody, they don't stop you. It's not like a private college. At least most of these places are. I don't know about Brown's University, but the college I went to, no. You could drive through it. Anybody can walk up to the building. And some of the buildings, I'm trying to think, was there any code or anything? No. During school time, just walk in. You can just walk in. Absolutely crazy. There might be security guards sometimes, but usually, yeah, just walk in. But let's get over into this, just to key details from the tapes. So lack of remorse, like they talk about in the recording, which was primarily in Portugal. They said, I also don't regret what I did, and I refuse to apologize, claiming that during my lifetime, no one sincerely apologized to me. He revealed that he had been planning the attack for 6 semesters, or at least 6 months, and had previously cased the Brown's University campus multiple times, like what they mentioned in the video. Despite all that, they still don't have a clear motive of why they targeted anyone. He complained extensively about self-inflicted injury to his right eye, which occurred when a shell casing ricocheted and hit him while he was shooting the MIT professor at close range. He addressed rumors that he had shouted Allah Akbar during the shooting. He clarified that he does not speak Arabic, and that he said if he said anything, it was likely an exclamation. And then he insisted that he was sane and that the world cannot be redeemed. Absolutely crazy situation, y'all. Let me know your thoughts on the tapes. How do you feel about it? They still got to do a lot of extensive digging to find out a clear motive. If he kept track of his old the MIT professor as they got older. Why he did it. Was he just jealous of anything? It sounded like he wasn't planning to do the exact location at the Brown's University College. It was just at that point, he was planning to attack Brown's University, but he wasn't planning to attack that exact location. So it was just a moment of passion, kind of. So absolutely crazy situation. But let me know your thoughts on that whole thing. Let me know if you disagree with anything I said. What are your thoughts on this whole situation, y'all? Absolutely crazy. It's a crazy world, but we got to review it together. We have to review it together. But we're going to pivot over into the last thing we're going to be talking about today. And we got to go over to Bronx. We got a Bronx stabbing of a man on his way home. I think it was from work or to work. Absolutely crazy. So we got 2 videos to look at that we're going to get into. And then, of course, we're going to go into the AI overview. So let's get into it.
George Ennin was on his way to work as a security guard in the Bronx when an apparent stranger tried to trip him and then seconds later fatally stabbed him.
Ennin, a father of 2, he died, and now New York cops are looking for the killer and for some answers as well. Who is it, and why did he do it?
Ennin was stabbed at East 153rd Street and 3rd Avenue in the Melrose section. Eyewitness News reporter Darla Miles is live at the scene with her lead story tonight. Darla.
Listen, Bill, neighbors of 53-year-old George Enan are really trying to wrap their heads around this tonight. He was beloved by his neighbors, not a negative word to be said at all, only kind words. This is where the incident happened yesterday, and George Enan was a strong man. He was a security guard, but it happened, he was stabbed randomly just along this sidewalk. And what happened, which is really tragic, do you see the uneven bricks near that tree? He stumbled backwards as he was fighting off his attacker. He stumbled backwards on those uneven bricks. He fell to the ground, and that's when he lost his fighting advantage.
This man was one in a million. He was a diamond in the rough. He raised 2 daughters single-handedly.
53-year-old George Enan was a girl dad. He was well-loved and well-respected for it.
Well-dressed, good-looking man, smell good, mannerable.
The NYPD now searching for this man for violently stabbing Enan to death on 3rd Avenue with no warning at all, for no reason at all. It happened near East 157th Street in the Melrose section of the Bronx Monday afternoon.
The nature of what happened to George is gruesome.
Just before 2 o'clock, the 53-year-old who just returned from a month-long trip home to Ghana is last seen leaving his apartment building, headed to work as a security guard. He actually walks past the 42nd precinct, and a few blocks away, surveillance video shows a man coming from the opposite direction, trying to kick him. Enan blocking the sudden blow, and the suspect stumbles, but regains his footing and charges after Enan with a knife. Eyewitness News freezing the video here before the stabbing occurs.
How do you go home? You would go halfway around the world to come back to get murdered?
The surveillance video continues, which is too disturbing to air, shows after Enan is stabbed, he gets up, manages to take 29 steps halfway down the sidewalk looking for help, but collapses 57 seconds later.
When I was walking to go to the pharmacy, I seen it. I just walked around it. I didn't know it was him.
Investigators hoping the suspect's jacket with large white lettering and a fur collar will help to quickly identify the person who took the life of a man who neighbors say had the kindest of hearts.
He was trying to get away and he ends up tripping. That's crazy.
He made a home for those 2 girls. They're college bound, they're A students. He worked, he started over here at the supermarket. From that, he went on to do security.
So if you take a look at the uneven bricks in the tree, that is where Enan was stabbed, fell to the ground. But again, those 29 steps along this sidewalk, it took 57 seconds. That's about a minute to get to where I'm standing, to where he ultimately collapsed. When you think about someone who had suffered all of those injuries, it is quite remarkable that he walked from there to here. The big thing now is to find the suspect, the NYPD.
So he has been found, but let's go over to X real quickly. You know, you can go there.
It was a normal afternoon walk down 3rd Avenue in Melrose. This mother strolling a child, unaware the attacker was walking behind her. The knife-wielding man abruptly stops at the corner before turning around and locking in his victim. He tripped the man, then stabbed him multiple times as he lay there helpless. The victim tries to get up as the attacker, seen in this bomber jacket, runs away. He stumbled down the sidewalk, leaving a trail of blood before collapsing against a wall where dozens of neighbors surrounded him. Police rushed in shortly after 2 p.m., finding
absolutely crazy situation. Let's go over into they have found the suspects. Let's get over into that and see what we can. Oh, let me put that right back in there. Let's pull that back up. So let's go over into it.
Tonight at 11 with some breaking news. An arrest in the deadly stabbing of a man on his way to work. It happened in the Melrose section, and investigators say it was unprovoked. Now police sources telling us the suspect in custody has 20 prior offenses. Naveen Dhaliwal spoke with people who knew this father of 2.
This disturbing surveillance video is now the center of a homicide investigation in the Bronx as a man is viciously and fatally stabbed in broad daylight on 3rd Avenue in Melrose Monday afternoon.
I heard a scream when we turned around. I didn't see none. Then I see a man stumbling. See a guy running up the block.
Raymond Febres was working construction when he heard the chaos. In surveillance just moments earlier, you see the suspect walking down the sidewalk, then turning around and approaching 53-year-old victim George Ennin. Then the man lunges at Ennin, trying to kick him as Ennin dodges the kick before trying to run away, but then unfortunately trips on the sidewalk and falls. The suspect chases him down and begins to repeatedly stab him with a sharp object. We have paused the video here due to the graphic nature of the attack. The suspect then can be seen running away.
I run across the street. I realized I called 911. 10 or 12 cop cars come in, but it was too late. He was gone by then.
The entire attack happened at 2 p.m. in broad daylight in front of nearby businesses and passing traffic. Stunned and heartbroken friends gathered near the scene.
This man was one in a million. He was a diamond in the rough.
Friends say Ennin was a father of two who worked as a security guard and just returned from a trip to Africa.
You would go halfway around the world to come back to get murdered? You're on your way to work?
Now police have arrested 38-year-old Sean Jones from the Bronx. He is facing charges including murder, manslaughter, and criminal possession of a weapon. But that's little closure to Ennin's friends, who are struggling to understand why his life ended so senselessly.
When I would see him, always had a smile on his face. I'm kind of at a loss for words at this moment.
That's the biggest question. Why attack him? You didn't know if he was just looking for a victim or if he specifically had him in mind. The surveillance footage makes it look like that he was just looking for any person. He might have attacked the woman at first, but he decided to attack the person that when he turned around. It's a crazy situation. Let's go over, how I like to do the AI overview, so let's go over into that. So January 5th, the 53-year-old security guard and father was fatally stabbed. Happened around 2 p.m. at 3077 3rd Avenue and East 157th Street. The victim, George, was a immigrant described by the neighbors as a devoted father. Surveillance captured the attack. They say that he managed to take about 29 steps before he collapsed. So the suspect, Sean Jones, 38, a resident of Moore, Savannah, I don't know how to say that, was arrested on Tuesday afternoon, January 6, 2026, after being identified through surveillance video. Criminal history, he's described by authorities as a career criminal with over 20 prior arrests. He was charged with manslaughter, criminal possession of a weapon, and murder. He is expected to be arraigned in court today, 2026. Let's see if we can figure out what his prior arrests were for. Has extensive criminal history, 20 prior arrests, dating back to 2012. Authorities describe him as a career criminal. So the key prior offenses, he got violent robberies from 2019 to 2020. He pleaded guilty to robbery and assault, grand larceny, and harassment for attacking two women in the Bronx in March 2019. In one attack, he punched a woman in the face and stomped on her head to steal her EBT card. 2 days later, he punched and kicked another woman, breaking several of her ribs and her wrist, her orbital bone, to steal $13 and a cell phone. For these violent felonies, he was sentenced to 4 months in probation. Assaulting an officer. So Jones was charged with biting a police officer while being arrested for a subway fare beating incident. His rap sheets include multiple arrests for robbery and assault, criminal possession of a weapon, criminal sale of marijuana, forgery, criminal trespassing, and fare evasion. Mental health history. Jones has been the subject of 4 prior police reports regarding an emotional, disturbed person. Following his arrest for the murder of George Aaron, he was taken into a psychiatric facility for evaluation to determine if he was fit to stand trial. So that's a question. Are they going to... I hope they don't play it off for mental health. Because look at this rap sheet. Look, he was punching women in the head with it for an EBT card, for $13 and a cell phone. Some people just don't deserve to be on the streets. Some people do not deserve to be on the streets. It's a crazy situation, y'all. Let me know your thoughts on it. Let me know if you disagree with anything I said. You never know when it can happen. He's just walking home, walking away, in an unprovoked attack on his way to work. You never know when the last time it will be yours. Try to keep your head on a swivel and protect yourself, but sometimes that won't even work. It's a crazy situation, y'all. Like I said, let me know your thoughts and let me know if you disagree with anything I said. But that is it for the show today, y'all. Thank you for watching. Like always, we talk about some very crazy things. The world, people are crazy. The world is crazy. We got to review the world together. We have to review the world together, y'all. But thank you for watching now. Thank you for watching later. Remember to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and hit that notification bell so you can be up to date on all the videos. These videos will be broken down, so you don't got to worry. You can watch it back again or watch the one you want. If you have any videos you want me to review, please send it over to my email. It is acreviewstheworld. It's right there. Wrong way. acreviewstheworld@gmail.com. A dot after the A and a dot after the C. But that's it for now, y'all. Y'all already know I gotta play the outro. It's a tradition. We gotta play it. But I will see y'all back here tomorrow at 6. That's it for now, y'all. Peace.